I've been sporting this Browning X-Bolt, guys, and I got to tell you, I've been really happy with it. They even have now the X-Bolt 2, the Browning X-Bolt 2. This is this stuff. I'm always, if you're in the market, it's always cool because I get listeners that they like write in and they're like, hey, I'm in the market for this, I'm in the market for that. One of the most common things is a rifle. Like, what rifle do you recommend? And I don't know why they'd ask for my advice, but if you are, you can experience total accuracy with the X-Bolt 2. This Veritech stock is like adjustable. That's a really important feature with any rifle. So if you're longer or shorter than somebody else, you can adjust that stock. I love the DLX trigger. I love the weight. I love how smooth the action is on this rifle. You cannot go wrong with the Browning X-Bolt 2. It's legitimately a step up from like these over-the-counter type rifles. If you're gonna stick to that over-the-counter rifle lineup, the Browning X-Bolt really deserves a second look and serious consideration because it's not going to let you down. I absolutely love both of mine. Check them out at browning.com.
There exists a threat, from anti-hunting groups to politicians trying to give our land away, and we won't stand for it. Those vast western landscapes provide the space for our wildlife to thrive and a place for hunters and anglers to fuel the fire that sparks their soul. In this show, we share our love of hunting, fishing, and conservation. Here, we provide the foundation to meet these threats through passion and the grit of the American outdoorsman. Welcome to the Western Huntsman Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of the Western Huntsman Podcast. This is Jim Huntsman, your host, coming at you from the Broken Tine studio right here in Northwest Montana. And joining me today, I got my good buddy Ryan Gascon on. He owns High Timber Dreams over there in, Ryan, do you pronounce it Elgin or Elgin, Oregon? I know I said Elgin. Okay, yes. I was kind of right. High Timber Dreams out of Elgin, Oregon, and he's a return guest, and he's an elk hunting extraordinaire. We're going to kind of dive into a little bit of all of that. So, Ryan, I appreciate you joining me, brother, man.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having us back.
So it's funny, man. I remember back a few years back, you sent me like a hoodie and a t-shirt. I still have all that. And so I'll be sporting it around here. I was wearing the t-shirt while I was hunting. What was that? Was that Spring Bear? It might've been Spring Bear last year or something. And anyway, I go down and I'm, in Sanders County, Montana, and I'm not going to say where in Sanders County, but I go into this gas station and this guy thought that I was from Elgin, Oregon because I was wearing this shirt. And he's like, there's really good bear hunting in Oregon. I don't know why you have to come over here. And I was like, I was so confused. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And I realized the back of the shirt says Elgin, Oregon.
Yes, sir.
So I was like, man, that wasn't very nice. Even if I was from Oregon. What would you say to that guy, by the way, Ryan? What would you tell that guy?
I would just introduce myself to him and probably invite him over for a bear hunt.
There you go.
I've been dealing with bears for the last 2 weeks. They come back again last night, tried to rip another camera off the tree. One ripped the camera off the tree last week, bit holes through it, broke all the straps.
Oh, geez.
I can't get the bears out of my life right now. I know one person with a bear tag for this area, and they just haven't been able to make it over here yet. But these bears got to go.
Is that like a tough area to draw bear tags in?
Spring bear, I never really apply. I've been here 10 years now, and last year and this year's really the only 2 years would have been worthy. I can't predict the winter, but we didn't have a winter last 2 years ago. We had a mild winter. This last year we didn't have any winter.
Yeah, pretty similar over here, man. I'm not looking forward to this summer unless something changes and we get just a ton of rain over the next few weeks, or a couple months. I'm pretty worried we're going to have a really smoky July and August and probably into September, and it's already drier than a popcorn fart out there. And it's just barely May, Is it like that there?
There's a lot of places that are dry. I've been staying off up in the timber. I've been staying over on the northeastern sides. Morning sun, north slopes aren't getting much. Ground's plenty of moist over on those sides. My pond was 6 feet deep earlier this year. And usually I plow twice a day for 5 months. Last year, this last winter, I plowed one time.
Yeah.
My pond's full.
Is it? So it's
the
not
aquifer opened up. Everything we mowed last week, and the grass is already 6 inches tall. It's just absolutely crazy. And our property faces the sunset. We get a sunset every night. We're facing west.
Yeah.
And it comes over the top of Toll Gate. And it's just, I don't understand. They say our snowpack's way up there again in the low 80s.
Oh, 80%. Is it really?
I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about it too. But one day at a time.
Yeah. It's just, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just going to be what it's going to be. Do you have a side topic here? Do you have duckweed? Do you have a duckweed problem in your pond?
No, I have nothing in my pond but catfish and geese.
Really?
Yeah.
Do the catfish help or something, or like what? I can't get rid of this duckweed in my place.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't really ever mess with it, and it always just stays. I mean, it turns a little brown, a little gold, depending on rain and whatnot. But there's nothing that grows in that pond.
Wow. Jeez, man, I cannot. It is like a duckweed jungle in my pond. It's that time of year it's starting to pop up, and I hate it. The only good thing about it is it kind of reduces the evaporation but this is the first time since we bought this place I've ever had a pond, and so I just really don't know what I'm doing with it. But I can't keep fish in it either. I keep putting fish in it, and then the dang herons come in and snatch them all out of there, and so whatever. I'll get it figured out one day.
It looks like you got a pretty big pond.
It's roughly an acre. Yeah, it's rough, and it's about 20 feet deep in the middle. And the duckweed doesn't come up in the middle. It comes up on, all the edges, and it just seems to like suck the life out of the pond. So I have these giant invasive frogs, and I sit out there and shoot them with like my 10 mil just to practice, and different various weapons I've used out there. But and then we have a ton of turtles, which are great. But the fish, I can't seem to keep them because when you buy the fish, they're only like 6 inches, and so between those giant frogs and the herons and the ducks, they wipe these fish out as soon as I put them in there. So anyway, that side note, if anybody's listening that knows how to get rid of duckweed like without crazy chemicals, hit me up at jim@thewesternhuntsman.com. I'd be super curious.
Nice.
This podcast is super helpful for everybody. Well, Ryan, I was hoping maybe we could do this thing where, last time you were on the show, we really delved into what High Timber Dreams is, what the mission behind it is. To me, it's one of the coolest organizations out there. I really appreciate what you do. I'm a veteran, and so I see what you guys are doing out there, and it's an important thing to me what you guys do. But so for the audience sake, that may not be familiar with what you do, will you kind of give everybody a bird's eye view as to what High Timber Dreams is and why you started it and kind of what the mission is?
High Timber Dreams, we're a 501c3. We support the needs of veterans, active duty, first responders, and youth through hunting, fishing, and outdoor activities for their emotional and mental well-being. Mm-hmm. We started back in 2018. It's already cranking on some years for us right now.
Yeah.
We started it. I'm a veteran myself. My wife is a first responder and a nurse practitioner. So, we gave back to those who, best met our criteria. And we started High Timber Dreams because I was in bad places, and helping people help me. And we've inclinated that into our program. We don't just take charge when people come here. I mean, we're in charge of certain things, where we're going, what we're doing, but we get our guests involved immediately in the process. We kind of do things differently because I'm self-taught on turkeys. Turkeys on our ranch taught me everything I need to know to be successful. We're successful on deer. I've always been a deer hunter. Elk, always been a pretty good elk hunter. Satisfied as a hunter years ago, so I have no problems at all giving up my hunting time to spend it with these disabled veterans that come across America to elk hunt with us. In fact, Jim, It's official as of yesterday. I have 15 elk points.
Oh,
And I'm giving them to my grandbaby, who's now 8 months old. So when she's 9 years old, she'll have 24 points, and she'll probably, our goal is 350 plus bull for her at 9 years old.
oh wow. How
As
cool.
well, I have 19 buck points.
Wow.
And so what I'm going to do with those is I'm going to wait a couple more years until Brinley Pearl, that's my grandbaby. When she's old enough to start walking and running around and talking and really start getting more involved, I'm going to split those points up with my wife and my daughter and my son-in-law, and we're going to get her initiated right off the get-go.
Nice.
She's already been turkey hunting. She's been mushroom picking. She's been deer hunting. She goes wherever they go, and most of the time wherever we go. But right now, like I said, she's 8 months old. She's still a little preemie, and we can't hardly wait.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you're doing that. How can you imagine being 9, 10, 11 years old and your first bull is like this 350 monster? Like, yes. I just can't. I think it honestly, I almost think it would ruin me. It would have ruined me for life. But
well, we have the big 3 units here. Mount Emily takes 20 plus years to draw it. Winoha pushing 20 to 25 years to draw it. That's the tag she's going to draw, Mount Emily.
Does Oregon do any randomized draw, like hey, half of these tags are going to be given out to people with the right amount of points, and then the other half is just drawn out of a pool, and anybody can get it with regardless of your points?
A 25% go into. There's a 25% pool. I mean, the best chance you ever got of drawing it twice is if you draw the tag this year and then you have 0 points and you apply next year.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's random guys. I've met hunters in the woods with 8 points, 9 points, 12 points, 18 points, on and on and on. But very few get to play with the big bulls.
So in terms of high timber dreams, how does one go about it? Like, let's say we've got a disabled vet wants to come out for an elk hunt. Walk us through how they can, how this works. Like, what's their process they'd have to go through to get out there and hunt with you?
Well, the best way to start is to subscribe to our website, which is hightimberdreams.com. Usually the first couple days of October, no later than a week into October every year, we'll put an application up on our website, and we will send out emails to our subscribers, making them aware to go ahead and get on that process. It's a very simple application. In fact, it's so simple, it's easy for people to incomplete it. And so we are going to actually, I will probably personally be going live on Facebook in the next couple months and reiterating to everybody what it really takes to fill out a proper application that right now is designed for a kindergartner.
Yeah.
And I know it's funny, but people get excited and whatnot. So there's two possibilities there's 2 elk tags that we generally receive every year through our applications. It's a governor tag. The hunt's good from August 1st to November 30th. Any weapon, any unit. Any unit doesn't mean too much to us anymore since United States National Forest made me become a licensed guide in order to get a special use permit in order to take veterans for free up into the National Forest, if you can believe that or not.
No, wait a minute. Say that again. The
United States National Forest. So there's 12 forest districts in Oregon, National Forest District. Okay. I want to take these guys on a congressional disabled veteran elk tag issued by the state of Oregon and High Timber Dreams. I had to become a licensed guide, first aid, CPR, $1 million worth of insurance in order to get a special use permit to guide veterans for free on the National Forest. And it's a real pain in my ass if you want to know the truth, but we don't break rules. If we do, it's incidentally, and we hold ourselves accountable to the proper authority. Transparency all the way, regardless of what the consequences are. But we do. The hunters, when they are selected, they're selected by our board of directors. We have 7 of us. We all read the applications. We all narrow them down individually, and then we all put them in a group and see how many we have the same. And believe it or not, over the last couple of years, we've all had the same 6, 7, or 8 people in the finals. Oh, gotcha. Then it gets real difficult. Now, these are for residents and non-residents. So we have veterans come across America commit to 14-day hunt, not including their travel.
Mm-hmm.
So most of them drive, obviously, because they got a big rack and 3 coolers full of meat they got to get home. We usually harvest our bulls day 10 or 11 seems to be the most average, because we are truly, I wouldn't say we're trophy hunting, but for the appreciation of the tag and the opportunity, we start out with a high expectation.
Yeah.
We passed, I think last year, the guys passed on 75 bulls. And
Wow.
Ronnie ended up killing a 330 bull, I think on day 11. It's a pretty good deal. We cover everything but transportation. We give the tag for free. They do have to buy their license if they're selected, their non-resident or resident license, but then we provide the tag. We're actually a veteran service organization for Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, so we actually issue the tag.
Oh, okay. So you guys, that's kind of cool. That at least gets some of the government headache out of your hair.
Yeah, there's still some red tape that you can't skip a beat on, but I got that pretty much squared away through the years of doing this.
Good.
So it's a real good deal. In fact, this year this year's going to be, they're all special, Jim.
Yeah.
But this year we got a 78-year-old Vietnam veteran driving here from Tennessee who was a prisoner of war for 11 months.
Oh, wow. Holy
and
cow.
I'm really looking, his dream is to kill a bull elk, and he's hunted bull elk several times in his life. And we're going to make that dream come true for him this September.
Wow, that's fantastic. And how can like listeners support this? Is there, do you guys accept donations, or is there other ways that listeners of this show, if they're like, man, this is a cool thing that you guys are doing, and a useful service to our veteran community out there, is there a way that they can support High Timber Dreams?
Absolutely. You can make a donation at hightimberdreams.com. You can make a donation through PayPal.
Mm-hmm.
We accept product donations and monetary donations. That's truly the best way. In fact, this year we're actually going to put a post up here. I might go live on it here within the month. And for the first time, we're going to reach out to corporations, product donors, and we're going to see that if anybody's wants to be willing to contribute to sponsor elk camp this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'd be a really good deal for us and for them.
Yeah, heck yeah. That I'd like have the Western Huntsman support something like that. If there's like, I don't know if you have like different levels of, okay, you can, well, you know how you can, when you go to like the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation banquets, you can like sponsor a table and buy a table for the night, and it comes with like a free gun if you do the big package. Or there's like the other one that just comes with 8 new memberships, or I can't remember. I'm not explaining it very well, but is it something like that, or how's that going to look?
Still working on it. That's why I haven't posted it yet. If somebody wants to put money towards any amount, we're thinking about breaking it down even per tank of gas, or what it takes to feed, 5 people for one day. More people really, truly, we believe and have been told want to help. But when you're out there asking for $2,500 or $5,000, it kind of keeps a lot of people out of the loop. But what if you could sponsor $100 towards a tank of fuel?
Yeah.
And that would be your day as a sponsor on a tank of fuel. In fact, we'd probably collaborate with all the sponsors together and just put everybody in the same package and just give that respect back to everybody through the process of the hunt. The other way people can support us is go to our Facebook page. If you like it, like it. If you want to comment. If you got questions, ask them on there. Share it if you like it. If you got friends that might be interested in it. We do get small monetization from Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing pretty good there for a while. And then, I post a picture of a hunter with a bull, and then I get restricted back to almost nothing for a while. But every penny that I make on Facebook all goes into High Timber Dreams bank account. And I've never taken a penny out of this nonprofit yet. Nobody has, not one day since we started in 2018. So if I make $100 a month or $500 a month through Facebook, that goes right into our account, and that helps us tremendously.
Good. Okay. Well, put me down for, I'll do the tank of gas or whatever. The Western Huntsman podcast will definitely support that. And
I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down right now, Jim.
Yeah, you better write it down, because if you don't, I don't want us to like forget and not reconnect before the time comes to make that happen. Cause I'd love to definitely be involved in something like that. So now are these hunts, are you guys doing mostly rifle, or is there any archery, or how does that look?
It's any weapon. We've had people, want to archery hunt, and that's great. But I promise you one thing: where we're hunting, one of our staff's going to be carrying a rifle right behind you.
Why is that?
Because we got big bulls here, and it would be, and it's not like you can stay on a 360, 380, 390, 400 bull for 24 hours straight. That's not going to happen for you. So if he comes up on that next ridge, or he's down in a hole, or he comes up to play and he wants to hang up at 100 yards because there's too much other pressure from other hunters and other bulls, we're going to shoot him with a rifle.
Okay.
We got to do that. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not trying to end the hunt early, but you can't let a bull like that walk. The majority of our hunt, one of our big questions on our application is how many veteran nonprofit hunts have you been awarded? And, we get applications where guys have been awarded 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's all great and all, but we truly, in our mission and through our board of directors, we're looking for veterans, disabled veterans that qualify, that are still productive within society, that are out there hunting and not moaning and bitching and complaining. And they're out there every year busting their butt. Some ask for help, some don't ask for help, and they never give up. And we just give them the right tools. We run a particular program the same way every hunter every year. And we teach them our program, and usually by day 3, the program, they already got it figured out, and we stick to it. And so when they leave us, they should be able to go out and harvest a bull every 2 to 3 years. And they should be able to take those tools to get their buddies or family involved.
Yeah.
And pass those tools along. It's real easy. We get out of the truck, we become elk.
It's like it seems to be like this experience, this opportunity and an experience that's like life altering for these guys, because we've talked about this on the show a few times. For folks that hadn't been in the military, the difficulty of like coming back to civilian life is very underrated. It's understated. I should say understated. There's a lot of things that, guys that go through combat, come home and they've got some, bad memories and struggle with dealing with that and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of us went through that, but like for even if for a guy that wasn't even in combat, the transition from military life to civilian life, to have an opportunity to do something like this, I think is like, and I think the government should be better about this, and I think that they're getting better, but they, like when I got out, man, there was no help. It was just like, okay, hey, thanks for your service. See you later. By the way, once you drive off the base, you can't come back on, kind of thing. It's like they just give you the boot. And I remember it took me like 3 days to drive from North Carolina home, and there was just no help. And all of a sudden you're in this position, in this headspace of like, hey, I was just a Marine Corps infantry fire team leader serving overseas in places like Iraq and stuff. And now I come home and the guys that are my age are like, complaining about their job at Taco Bell and still living in mom's basement. And it's just like this shock to the system, when you come home. And so that's, I think, one of the reasons that I really like organizations like yours, like High Timber Dreams, that can help, whether it's 30 years past or 30 days past, you're able to bring these guys in and show them an experience and give them like, it's, I think what is necessary is you're giving them this this ability to look at, that there is more to life than what you just went through. You know what I mean? And I think that that's why a lot of veterans, they struggle to create this identity that isn't all about them being a veteran. Oh, that's like, you've met those kind of guys. Like being a veteran is their entire identity. And I think that happens because you kind of get stuck from this place of you served your country, you did all these things, and then you come home into a place where people don't understand that. They don't understand what you've gone through, or they don't understand what that lifestyle is like, or they don't understand what like camaraderie is, and how close your buddies are in the military versus, what they are in civilian life. And it's just like this shock to the system, and you're able to provide them this vision of a thing that is different than that is also positive, where they can feel like they can fit in. Because like, I mean, I don't know any veterans that wouldn't want to go out and chase after 300 class bulls in Oregon. You know what I mean? And so it just gives them like a refocus or something. And so I know I had a question with that in there somewhere, Ryan, but I already forgot what I was asking you. Other than
I'm writing my questions down.
Okay. But I think that it's just, that was a long way of me saying that, this kind of stuff,
well,
we need more of it.
What do you think of this?
What you do.
What do you think of this? I've been saying this for years. I truly have. I'm not in a position to lobby for it or anything like that. But, that time you spend getting out of the military, the last couple of weeks or the month, where you're growing your beard and you're going through all your exams and your physicals and everything. I think it should be required, regardless of your MOS, regardless of what branch of the military you served in. It's a very structured place, the military. The world is a very non-structured place.
Mm-hmm.
They should be out there for minimum 2 weeks at an outdoor retreat, outdoor therapy, something the military or the VA needs to come up with, to where they can send every soldier to boot camp. They can decompress them through a 2-week or 1 month outdoor therapy clinic. That'll show them that there's an alternative way where they can decompress, where they can be alone, where they can forget about their demons through Mother Nature in the outdoors. I mean, these guys get out. Most of these people get out and they go back to where they're from, which is mostly a large populated city or living in a rental house, apartment, or their own home, and people all around. Grocery stores are full. You got to wait in line to get a burger. I mean, it's just crazy. And, and a lot of guys I think that I've talked to through the years that have gotten out, that's too much for them too fast. They instantly want to go back in the military because they see there's no structure out here. They can't be what they've been trained to become.
Yeah. No.
And so if they were to go through even a 2-week outdoor therapy program, I'm not talking with counselors. I'm talking with, maybe they do it with 50 veterans getting out of the military all at the same time that don't even know each other.
Yeah.
Make connections for when they are discharged out of the military. I mean, like on our elk hunts, we send them home. Elk hunters usually leave with $1,500 to $2,000 worth of gear. I mean, we give them the tools that we use from our sponsors so that they can not, maybe they don't want to go to the Sport Cabela's and, get in the big crowd and buy the stuff they need. We give them the stuff they need. Yeah. All they got to do is figure it out. Not here where we live. Dude, I think I got 4 neighbors in 5 miles.
Yeah.
So it's a different way of life that exists that they're not aware of, and it really needs to be made aware of them. I think if more veterans got the two weeks to a month of outdoor therapy before they were discharged, there'd be a lot less veterans taking antidepressants. I guess I'll say that word.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to put it. I think
they're just unaware of it, Jim. They don't know.
I think that's a great idea. And I think it should be like run by, like you said, not therapists, like just like maybe a veteran that has been out for 5 years, and a veteran that's been out for 10 years, and a veteran that's been out for 20 years, or whatever. Like just people that they can call their people. That because that's what happens, man. Is you get out and it feels like you are this isolated, weird human. You don't have anything in common with like your buddies from high school that didn't do that. There's still not much has changed for them, where your whole world has been just absolutely obliterated, redesigned, relived, and now boom, you're back. Here you go. They just spit you right out, and like for me, man, we got back from Iraq like mid-June, end of June. And because we were all stop lost, which for those of you that don't know what that means, it means that the military can keep you in past your end of enlistment date. Like if there's something like for us, it was Iraq, right? And so I was supposed to get out of the Marines the exact same week the Iraq war started. And so I was stop lost. I had served beyond my 4-year contract, right? Yep. So when that happens, they process you out real quick. They just want you out. You know, there's too many E4s at one time in the Marines, and that's a problem. So we went from like end of June-ish or whatever. By July 25th, I found myself no longer in the Marines and driving home from North Carolina. And it was just like this shocking, weird thing. I went from Iraq to civilian in like this 6-week time period. And there was no real cool down. Because when we got home, man, we'd been overseas for like 10 months. All we did was go party, and we went to Applebee's and ate all their nachos and whatever that. I can't remember that rest. It wasn't Applebee's, man. It was Chili's. It was Chili. There was a Chili's right off the base. We go out there and drink beer and eat not chips and salsa for hours, and that's how we decompressed. But anyway, it's just a shocking experience, and I think that's a great idea. If there was some way, like you said, they bring you in via the process of boot camp to get you ready. Maybe there's a month-long
Post
boot camp or something. Post camp, yeah, something like that, where it's like showing you how to have a purpose when they just and again, I think that they're getting a little bit better with it now, but like when I got out in 2003, dude, it was just there was nothing. There was just nothing. And nobody, they didn't say, hey, if you're struggling or, having a hard time adjusting to civilian life, call this number, or, websites. I think they were a thing, but like, I didn't even know what a website was back then, so it was just, I think that's a brilliant idea, and stuff like what you do, especially for those disabled guys, man, I think that it just offers a really good reset. Have you had like an experience with one of these veterans where you could tell that you just completely changed their life for the better at the end of a hunt?
Almost all of them.
Really?
And they still reach out to us. In fact, we had Command Sergeant Major Brian Rickstadt here over the weekend with another veteran, his friend he brought with him. And they brought us out a tab board. We have a tab board. We have a board to where everyone that comes here requests to send your name tag and your rank and the unit you were in, and we put you in the shadow box. Where shadow box has been full for a long time. It's like 20 inches by 30 inches. Well, he built me a 4-footer by 3-footer.
Oh, wow.
I got a lot of years left to fill this thing up.
Cool.
And he was out here. It was donated by Brian Rickstadt, his wife Danielle, and their family. It was an amazing deal. That hunt changed his whole life in 2023, and he reiterated it over and over and over again while he was here Thursday and Friday.
Wow.
We get some veterans here that just don't feel they're worthy of a hunt. Maybe a little insecure, maybe things didn't go right, maybe they had a bad time when they got out. Those individuals, we don't really target anybody, but we sure look for guys like that. They just need a boost up. It's not just a program to be able to harvest elk. It's a subconscious program where the hunter doesn't know what we're doing to figure out what they want without asking them what they need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they open up to me, being a veteran, and my wife, very kind lady. They get out here and they're just kind of awed about just being up in the mountains. It's relaxing right when they walk in the door. They all make long drives. I mean, last year, Ronnie drove from Oklahoma. We've had them drive from Nebraska, Indiana, Washington, California, Oregon, of course, Idaho. But I think that's the main thing why we've evolved through the years. We'll evolve every year. If we do one little thing we didn't mean to do and it changed a life, that's going to go right into our program.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets treated the same. Are you losing your signal?
No, I got a weird notification.
I can't hardly see you there. Even. Yeah. You're
all
blurred out.
Okay, just give it a sec. It'll circle back into view.
Well,
Can you still hear me
okay? Yes.
Okay.
Here's the other thing we've become a part of since I was on your podcast, I believe. There's an organization out here it's not really an organization. It's a group of guys they call it Eastern Oregon Veterans. Okay. Mm-hmm. Since for the last 3 years, May was 3 years, we meet every Wednesday for lunch at a different community restaurant to support one another in the community. And we have 2-hour lunches. We average between 15 and 30 veterans at every single lunch. And that outlet right there goes a long ways just for everybody out in these rural communities. In fact, we get Governor buck tags as well.
Oh, really?
Last year, we started giving them to the veterans at Eastern Oregon luncheons. I mean, I had veterans last year that were 78 years old. I had one that was 80 years old. You know, had one that was 62 years old. And some of them, you know, we don't do applications. I walk in one day and say, hey, here's the free raffle tickets, boys. If you want a once in a lifetime chance, drop your name in the bucket.
Wow.
And I do it 1 or 2 lunches, and then I have the oldest timer there draw the name.
Huh.
And we just set them right up. They're all local here. We can hunt. We hunted 37 days for deer last year with 5. I got 5 governor tags last year for disabled veterans for buck deer.
And I was on your Instagram kind of scrolling through it. I mean, you guys don't mess around, man. There's some really nice bucks dropping. Really nice bulls, obviously, but we talked about that. But it looks like it's a lot of mule deer.
We shoot mostly mule deer here, yes.
Yeah.
We usually don't start hunting the deer until the first week of November.
Yeah. So is the elk season kind of over there by the time November rolls around?
No,
it's still rolling.
Yep.
Good.
Yep. But the rut starts in November, so we see bucks no one gets to see before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the elk, it's weird in Oregon. The elk here, we usually have our hunters come in September 16th through the 18th, arrive, and then we hunt them usually through October 1st or 2nd or 3rd or whatnot, whatever we have to do. But yeah, there's plenty of hunters around. And these big units like Winaha and Mount Emily that give 58 and 40 tags, they also give out 160 spike tags.
Oh, do they?
So what do most guys want to do that are getting ready to draw the tag? They can draw a spike tag every other year probably. And so they want to learn the unit. They want to call in big bulls. They want to take pictures of big bulls. And when you got a guide license on your truck and High Timber Dreams on your truck, you'd be surprised how many people are in that spot where you put a bull to bed the night before when you get there in the morning.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you need to come up with a different truck, man, and just leave it totally blank. Just anonymous.
It challenges me more to be a better hunter.
Yeah, that's true. You'd have to get there a little earlier. Yeah, no, it's such a cool thing, man. I'd love to just be there at some point to kind of experience what you experience with that, because it's, I'm a guide out here and usually you get a totally mixed bag of clients, as a guide. Some of your hunters are like really experienced hunters. In fact, I learn a lot from them, and they're just, they go every year somewhere and whatever. And other guys are like, you get that into the guys is the first time they've ever been hunting is when I take them out, and so, and they spend 6 days hunting with me, and I take them into some of the most remote country in Montana, and able to, if they're, physically able to do, I get a lot of older guys that can't quite go that far. But anyway, the point is a lot of these guys, they come out here, they live in big cities, they're used to traffic jams and stoplights and, Uber Eat delivery truck. We just went down to Salt Lake City for my daughter's archery tournament. And we rented this Airbnb in like this suburban neighborhood where like the neighbors are right next to each other, and what I noticed, Ryan, is everybody was ordering this Uber Eats food. Like there was constantly cars coming up and parking and delivering food to everybody. It was just the weirdest thing, because we don't have stuff like that here, right. And so, but this is what they're used to, and they're sitting in cubicles all day working from an office or whatever, and yet they come out to Montana and they go up in this back country where there's grizzly bears and screaming bull elk and all this other stuff. They leave changed.
Yes.
But to do that from a standpoint of like a disabled veteran who may have had a little sense of hopelessness, because I know what that feels like, to be able to experience something like that, I think is just life altering. And so, yeah, man, it's such a cool program that you do. So
we appreciate that.
Well, and since we talked about that, I'd really like to get your take on some elk strategies specific to rifle hunters. Like, first of all, give us your take, Ryan, on how do you target big bulls? If somebody wants to, no, I won't say that. Not everybody can just go out and kill a raghorn. They're not easy to kill either. But like,
No, they are not.
I'm the kind of guy, man. You can't shoot spikes here, but if you could, I would. If I could shoot raghorns, I'll shoot those all day. If I have an opportunity on a little 4x, I'll shoot that thing all day. But every once in a while, I get a hankering to try my hand at being a trophy hunter. What do you do differently to kind of target those more mature bulls? I know you're in a really good trophy type area, but like, what changes do you think for you?
Understanding that mature bulls act differently.
How do they act differently?
Well, they've been educated their whole life, for one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we around here, at least, they bench up for the first, couple weeks pre-rut, and they hang just on the outskirts with their nose and their ears and their eyes. And it's a little harder in these units too, because it's not, you'll see it every hunter that comes here will see 4 to 7, 320, 330 bulls that are 3 or 4 years old working that big herd bull.
Wow.
It's a little different in most areas to where that herd bull can run, regs off all the time and still control his cows in an open area. Over here, he can't go all night long against 5, 6, 7 up and comers. Most likely 1 or 2 of them is probably his. So we run the same approach. We hunt elk the same way rifle as we do archery. That bull my wife killed, her first bull 2 years ago, I called those 3 bulls in at the end of October, and she shot one at 25 yards.
Really? Did you call it in with a bugle or a cow call?
Cow calf calls.
Cow calf calls. Huh.
Yep. Took about an hour. Yep. So I approach them all the same. I mean, if there's we're not going to put packs on and go in all day. That's not going to happen if you hunt with us. We're going to jump around. I got 400 waypoints that I learned all by myself. Never got one from anybody. We hunt travel corridors, breeding pits, bedding areas. And you can't really tell how big a bull is by his bugle. I used to think you could 15 years ago, but you can't.
Yeah, I used to think that too, man.
The best bugles come from hunters, and the worst bugles come from bulls. That's just my opinion. Yeah. And we do a lot of bulls. I mean, there's days towards the end of our hunts in September and October where sometimes the rut's really getting just fired up, right before deer season. We'll hear 1,000. I'm not exaggerating. You could reach out to some of my hunters and ask them, we'll hear 1,000 bugles a day.
Wow.
And then it gets even more confusing. So we hunt very patiently. We don't overstep on the bull. We get in his head. Generally, we know there's several bulls in the area and cows all over the place. I usually go big to start. Like, hey, I'm a new player in town. He's never seen me. He's never smelled me. He's never heard me. And he's like, oh, why did I just get challenged? And there'd be hunters out there. Most hunters bugle 3 to 4 or 5 different bugles at the most. 2 to 3 usually, most hunters. So I got 15 or 16 different bull sounds that I can make. We've been walking through the woods with guys who've been hunting their whole life and killed a couple bulls. And they'll hear a sound. I'll be like, that's a mature bull. And they'll be like, I've walked by that my whole life. That ain't no elk. I said, well, let's go look. And every time it's a bull, and so then they add that to their program, from their previous experience. And, around here, most of the big bulls we kill, we've killed some with some good herds, which is difficult to do, obviously, with so many elk around to get an open shot, especially if there's other bulls he's running off the whole time. He's all lathered up and he's not going to stop for long pretty much anywhere. I start off big, and then after I start off big, I get real quiet, especially if there's other bulls around. I try to tell people, like my hunters, okay, that bull just ran out here. I challenged the bull. The bull challenged me back. Then he went back to his cows. And then we're hearing other bugles off in the distance. Majority of the time, it's bulls. Every so often, you got 1 or 2 hunters that come in because we jump so much, we get away from the hunters. And then, then it sounds like that bull's getting farther away to our hunters. But most of the time, half the time, he's not getting farther away. He's running past his cows on the other side to go scream at another bull. And is what I try to teach him is, we challenged the bull first call. We got into a little tight. We challenged him. He challenged us back. And then all the other hunters and all the other bulls, he's responding the same way to. And what I teach my hunters is that bull's keeping tabs on every elk and every hunter that he think is an elk out here. That bull's smart. Those mature bulls are smart. They'll keep tabs on you. He can't keep tabs on you if you be quiet. right?
True.
So,
Yeah.
so if he runs over there and then he runs back, say you got 5 other bulls, he's bugling at them all the same way. He wants them to bugle back. He wants the archery hunt. He wants the hunter to bugle back so he knows where he is. He can move his cows around if he wants. The cows usually go what they want. He's out being a big mature bull. He'll check the cows and then he'll go do his thing to keep everybody off, show off, brag, whatever, challenge. But when he's bugling the same way at all the other elk, he's keeping tabs on them. And as the herd moves, he moves. So as the herd moves and then as he moves, his distance getting back to us has shortened up because he stays the same distance he wants away from his cows. So as the cows move, even though, that's where you be quiet and that's where you check wind and you move along with those elk so you can stay at a constant with them. So then you got to decide when it's time to really step on him. And most of the times when we step on him, believe it or not, we'll pull 2 to 10 cows away from him. And then he'll come to the tree line and he'll try to look and he'll challenge us and he'll beat up a tree and he'll do whatnot. And by doing that, most of the time, even with good optics, we can't really decide whether or not if that's a bull we want to target. And so, we just move along with the herd. But if he goes far enough away and we're close enough to the herd and I can get between him and his cows, I will challenge him all day long and let him know that these are no longer your cows, my friend. And then that's usually where we get most of our opportunities because he doesn't care at that point. He's running back as hard and as fast as he can. That's one of the strategies. I think you saw me make a comment on your Instagram, or it was a podcast you did where I talked about sometimes when we were in tight and the bull's skittish. I'll be instead of screaming at him and giving him a firm location or challenging him because he might take off at this point, I'll serenade a cow. I'll pay no attention to what he's doing, and I'll just start moaning and groaning super, super soft, just like they do. I don't know if you've ever seen a bull do that.
Yes, where you're talking about where the bull will like kind of almost make a cow call mew. Is that what you're talking about?
Super soft, and he'll just growl and he'll like soft mews, and he'll just like ooh.
Oh yeah.
Super soft.
Man.
I killed a bull in my backyard at 12 yards. I got him on video for 22 minutes, and for 5 of those minutes, he was serenading a cow because he thought there was another bull around.
Wow.
And so that's actually worked for us a couple times to where that he doesn't know how far away I am when I do it, when I'm soft like that. I'm not challenging him. I got in his safety zone without him knowing it. And now I'm being real soft. I'm serenading the cow, but the odds are he's going to hear it.
Pardon the interruption, but let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. A couple things I really love: American-made products and bow hunting. When you can put the two together, it just makes sense. It's a great combination, especially for me. I love this Easton Archery 6.5 bow hunter arrow. I've been pulling that thing back for a long time with this arrow and send them flying all over the place. So, guys, Easton Archery is a great partner for the Western Huntsman. It fits our values. It fits everything that we believe in. And American manufacturing is back, and it's ready to take over again like it used to be and how it should be. Whether it's hunting arrows, target arrows, components, stabilizers, accessories, you can shop it all, build your own arrows, whatever you want to do. Check it all out at eastonarchery.com for a full lineup, or check out your local retailer because they're probably going to have them too. Again, check it out, eastonarchery.com. Love these guys. Have you guys heard the term alternate economy? It's like this attempt to work with companies that are not run by a bunch of woke leftists that want to deplatform you for your values and your belief systems. I'd like to introduce you to Precision Pay. Precision Pay is a dedicated payment network built for the Second Amendment and outdoor recreation community, turning payments into a powerful network of shared values that prioritizes privacy, lower costs, and uninterrupted service, all without the risk of being deplatformed by these leftist nut jobs. Join Precision Pay to pay securely by bank without the privacy risks of credit cards. Save money and support our community. Enjoy promotions, discounts, and content. Membership is free. Folks, dedicated payment network built for the Second Amendment and outdoor recreation community is right up my alley. Help America, help yourself. Check out Precision Pay at myprecisionpay.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for those who support our sponsors. Let's get back to the show.
Can we back up and let me ask you something you said a little bit earlier? You said, how did you word that? You're making you'll have hunters that are like, they've heard that their whole life, and you're like, no, that's actually a bull doing that. And they're like, oh wow, no, I didn't know that, because I always hear that when I'm hunting myself. Is that the sound you're talking about? That growly, moany little mew thing that kind of, I almost want to demonstrate it, but it's like
no,
you're breathing heavy.
No.
What's that?
No.
What
That's not
what
the
were
sound.
those sounds?
Those sounds are usually just growls, just low, just something that they're not used to hearing bulls say.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
One of my goals is when I have my hunters for 14 days is to give them as many encounters as they've had in their whole life before they got to me. And those encounters will make them a better hunter. It will settle their heartbeat down. It will allow them to control their excitement and start thinking about what's going on. So like I explained to all my hunters like this, I've been doing this for a long time. And the sounds that I hear have a meaning to me. A lot of the sounds I hear, location bugle, display bugle, challenge chuckle, challenge bugle, estrus call, calf call. Those are all fine and dandy. We all know what those are. Those are elk being elk, right? Depending on the time of year and whatnot. But there's a lot of sounds out there that a lot of people never heard or never try to make. If you can fool him by, first of all, if he believes you're an elk, you're going to know within 5 minutes. Right? And that's why I usually go in hot and heavy at the first, when I challenge him at first, and then I shut up. And then he's wondering all the things he's doing with other bulls and his cows. Now I've upped him. I've elevated his alertness. And I'm a firm believer in the rut. If I can elevate that mature bull, he's not coming back down from that till the season's over. So I try to elevate every single bull that I can for a chance to get on that bull again.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
I'm elevate him. Now think about it. If I was in a bar, like, you know what they say, like you're in the bar with your wife and some guy comes up. Well, if I was that guy across the room that shouted F you didn't know who he was, then you're going to be on alert yourself, wondering which guy is this over there talking shit. Yeah. That's in my experience. And so what I teach the hunters is I try to give them as many sounds and understanding them through the actual experience of what we did with the sounds. But they have to learn how to, because everyone hears differently. Everyone processes differently. So they've got to figure out on themselves what those sounds mean to them and how they're going to respond. And that's all trial and error. That's experience after encounter, after encounter, after encounter. I can do the same thing to 3 mature bulls, and all 3 will act differently. But if I get in their head right off the get-go, and then I shut up, and then maybe 15 minutes later, after 40 bugles from other bulls as his cows are feeding to where they're going to go, and I get close and I throw another one up, now I got his full attention. No matter what he's doing, he's not going to forget about me. And I teach him as well. If he challenges us or he's screaming these other bulls and it goes quiet, he's coming to take a look. He's coming to try to wind you. He's there still being an elk. He's not gone. A lot of people will overwalk those elk thinking they just disappeared.
Man,
and
I love this.
That's not the case.
I love that topic. Can I ask you a few things about that? Because I used to be way guilty of that, man. That the bull would shut up. And I used to think, man, he like must have winded me, or he came and peeked through the trees and saw me or something, and he's gone. And I'll start walking and I'll go like 10, 15 yards and bam, there he is, and he's watching me come at him. And so I blow him out that way. When they go, you're out there and you've got this elk, kind of what you were talking about, where they're elevated. You've got his attention and he's not going to forget about you and whatnot. And then that bull goes kind of silent and stops answering back. What do you do? What do you do at that point? There's 2 scenarios. One, did everything go silent completely for 10 minutes and everyone went bye-bye? Or is everyone else, all the other bulls and hunters, still calling to this bull? If the elk are still around, they were not blown out. If other elk are around, he did not get blown out.
That's my
Okay.
experience. That lets me know we got in his head. Now he shut up. But so okay, let me back up a step. When I first challenge him, I try to start off as maybe only about a 7 or 8 year old bull. But we move after we challenge them. We move to where we've already thought about this before I even raised my tube up. We've already thought about this. What's the most likely odds of where he's going to come out to take a peek? 1, the wind. 2, where do we hear his cows if we hear them at all? 3, where do we hear the other bulls or other hunters at? So we got to process all that real quick before we can make a decision. But we'll challenge him, and I'll challenge him right in his face. I don't turn my back or nothing. I'll challenge him right in his face. Wherever he's at, I'm blowing as hard as I can right at him. And I'm getting deep, and I'm getting ugly, and I'm getting mean, and I'm calling him names. And so we've already moved immediately after that to try to get into an area to where we think the wind and the other bulls tells us where he's most likely to get far enough away from his cows to come look. And a lot of times we see him up closer than you would think because we've maybe moved instead of 50 or 100 yards, maybe we moved 300 yards. He'll go right by us. He'll go right by us. And then we'll wait to see if that's the bull. I mean, come on, if you can see a bull and say, yeah, we're shooting that bull, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You know, we're going to definitely shoot this bull. We don't have a shot, we're going to try to get on him again. There's a lot of times where we're not going to shoot that bull after we hear him and know that that's him. Then we just sit back and watch, and my hunters get the whole experience, and we do Q&A, 15, 20, half hour. Sometimes we'll wait till dark to walk out. And you'd be surprised how many times if too many hunters, 2 years ago we had 5 bulls with the herd bull we were going to shoot. I took 6 of his cows right off the get-go. He ran through and pushed the cows back up so fast that, you know, all we could say is, yeah, that's a bull we want to shoot. We're not doing anything right now. We're not going to panic and take a bad shot. We're not going to move. He's preoccupied right now doing the things that he thinks he needs to do instinctively.
Yeah.
And so the number one goal for us is we get in their head. I love getting in a bull's head. And you know you got in his head when he's not going to forget about you.
Yeah.
And if they do run off, most of the time he'll give his position away. If you wait 10 minutes, he'll come back out. If they go up and over the other hill, he'll come back up to the top when his cows are tucked, and he'll challenge you again. We're like, okay, we'll try to find you later today or tomorrow.
That's what I was going to ask you something on that. Like, and have you ever had a situation where the bull spots you, right? He doesn't smell you, but he visually spots you, but it is like clear that he doesn't quite know what you are, right? Because one of the things that I've really picked up on over the last 5 years is you can get away with a lot visually with an elk, with a bull. Especially if you're in the shadows and you're in some dark timber and it's just maybe overcast and you're moving through that stuff, man, and you're wearing a pack, it's like they think you're an elk or something. And because I won't even tell you.
Well, real quick, especially if they're looking for a bull that they think you are.
Yes. Like if they heard you bugle, that's exactly what happened to me a couple years ago. He heard me bugle. He responded. I thought he was further away, but really what happened was he was over this little knoll thing, ridge. So he sounded a lot further away than he was. So he popped up over that ridge and was standing in some dark timber. I came in on the other side of the dark timber, and I could see the brown blob of this bull's body staring at me as I'm moving. And I just said to myself, crap, man, like I'm busted. He totally busted me. So I stopped behind a tree and I kind of peek around the tree, you know, and he's kind of looking right at me, staring at my soul. But he didn't bugger off. He was expecting to see a bull. And so I think that they're in a lot of ways like humans, where, you know, how when you're expecting to see something, I don't even know how to, like, what kind of analogy to make with that, but you can kind of trick your own mind. You think something you're going to see is going to be there. So you think you see it for a minute, but then really it's not that, it's something else. And I think that that's what happens with like that particular bull. Cause I ended up getting a shot off on him. I missed completely because he was, anyway, I think that, like, oh, that's right. That's what the question was. See, I'm all over the place here, Ryan. Bear with me.
If the bull thought he could see you or not.
Yeah. So the bull sees you. You could tell by his demeanor or whatever. that he doesn't quite know what you are, but you made him uncomfortable enough to kind of bugger off. Is that bull callable still?
Yes.
You still think he's callable? Okay.
100%. And I'll tell you what, this may sound really odd, but this is the truth. It's no different when you challenge a big bull or you're going back and forth with a herd bull, a bull that you want to see or you've already seen and you want to harvest them. The regs still shut up and come in behind you. You could turn around and have a bull at 30 yards behind you that's a little 4-point and you're trying to kill the 6-point. It happens to us a lot because of the way we call. I'll pick up a pine cone or a stick and I'll throw it at that elk.
Really?
Absolutely. I just want him out of here. What's the big deal? No other bulls. They're all scattered out a couple hundred yards. All they hear when he leaves is a bull running off. That's all the other elk. Oh, it sounds like a real elk. Well, that just gave me one more notch in my book because now here I am. I don't care about that bull. He just ran off. He made natural elk sounds.
Yeah.
So I'm still good where I'm at as long as I'm still moving as the herd moves. I try to move with the herd more than I do with the bull because if it's the bull we want to harvest or a big bull's cows, let him run off. You stay with those cows, he's coming back. And you can use those cows to your advantage with the wind, with direction. You can also look at your onic and say, well, look at that. They're going right between that saddle up over the next knob. Now you see me, now you don't. They're heading right to the breeding pit. So we call them breeding pits. And so we play a lot of that game. I call spikes in back and forth. You know, we can all call spikes in 10 times in the same spike. But you throw a stick at him, he might not come back.
Yeah.
We don't want them rakes coming back in, and we're not bragging. We would if our tags were just elk hunting, we would shoot every bull as well. But we have an opportunity to provide encounter, scenario, and questions and answers all through the hunt, all through the camp, all when we get back home or whatever, you know. And I don't just pack 2 hunters around. I got 5 to 7 people. I got 5 to 7 people with us every hunt we go on. And so we all try to get on the same page within the first 48 hours and mistakes are made. We've blown bulls out we want to shoot. Someone accidentally squeezed something because they got a squeeze bag because they got excited maybe. Who cares? It doesn't bother me. Let's go find another one. Restart the program, reset, go back to the program. And it keeps them, it teaches them how to be calm. How many guys are out there that go out there and they finally get an opportunity on a bull and they miss or they blow it out? Their head and heart sink and they're ready to give up that day. We see it we see it from almost every hunter, but you know what we do? We turn it into a positive because we just had a chance to teach you and learn from it ourselves. And so now we all know what to do when that happens again. So getting in the group, 2 strangers from across America that don't know each other to work as a team in 48 hours is my biggest challenge.
Yeah, I'll bet it is.
but you know what? I wouldn't want it any other way because the more questions they ask, the more answers I can provide. But they always have to go back and reset and tell them, look, every scenario may seem like the same, but every one of them is completely different, even though you think we're doing the same thing over and over and again. They don't understand the reasoning of why we're changing things as we go through the same process. It's almost like sometimes we'll go from the beginning right to an advanced class if that's what that bull needs.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if he's going to provide an opportunity to get, if I can get 6 points on a bull, we're going to harvest the bull. So if I'm already up 1 because he challenged me back, right? I'm already up 2 because I threw a stick at another bull and he ran off. So now I got real elk sounds next to me, right? His cows didn't blow out. That bull ran off. So I just keep notching tick marks until he finally breaks down. We don't get me wrong. We don't get to harvest every big bull we see. I mean, we've seen some whoppers, man, but that's a whole nother level when you're dealing with people who've never harvested bulls.
And these guys can I'm sorry, I'm just clarifying a few things, but your hunters can actually shoot rifles during like September?
Any legal weapon.
Because it's a governor's, and you get 2 of those tags every year.
2 elk and 2 buck, yes.
2 elk, 2 buck. Wow, man, that's
last year I got 5 buck.
So when you say you're out there hunting, you've got a group of 5 people. Not all of them are the hunters. Just 2 of them are the hunters.
Just 2.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. I'm curious, again, something you said earlier, Ryan, when like, I want to kind of pick your brain on calling outside of what we all consider, the post rut. Once that post rut has, and I don't know, everybody has a different opinion as to when post rut happens. I tend to think it's around the 8th or 9th of October. From my experience, is when they kind of stop talking as aggressively. What do you think? Do you have like a different opinion on that?
Nope, I agree with you. Middle of October.
Okay,
I think,
so from
I think middle of October is pretty much when the big bull knows it's time to go find a hole to go dig himself in and be around water and be around feed. He's probably lost, I'd say, 30% of his body fat and some muscle weight just because he's running around worked up all day long. He's got to get that. He's got to get rehydrated constantly, and he's got to get vegetation while he can still get it before winter hits, because he knows if he doesn't, he's not going to make it through winter, and yet alone, he's not going to make it through the predators.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the rifle hunts around here are after, obviously, the archery season and the deer season. They're end of October. They usually start 4 or 5 days before Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so a lot of those hunts are long range shooting. And
do you do any calling at that point?
I called my wife's bull in 2 years ago in that hunt. 3 bulls in. I had a bull actually bugling at me, who just happened to be around. And I was like, great, sweet. Hope we can shoot him. But my wife, she never shot an elk before. And I told her, you got to shoot the first one to get it under your belt. I don't care if it's a spike or not. She's like, I'm never shooting a spike. So I call in 3. One's a 2x2 and 2 are spikes. And I told her, I said, if you can get a shot, and the bull came to 20, all 3 of them were at 25 yards. And I said, if you can get a shot, take it. And before I could say take it, she already squeezed the trigger.
Nice.
Yeah, that bull went 40 yards.
What about like, and I'm only saying it didn't go anywhere, but I actually got a bull to bugle. That would have been around the 14th of November somewhere. I had a hunting client. His name is Mike. Cool dude out of North Carolina was out here hunting, and I just, like, we weren't seeing much that day. So and it was kind of lightly raining. So on a whim, I'm like, I'm going to let out a big old bugle. And it wasn't like a real aggressive one, just like a long, locator bugle.
Yeah.
And sure enough, man, I got a response off of that. Never did see him. He didn't respond again.
But he told you where he was.
He did tell me exactly where he was, and we tried to move in over there, and the wind just wasn't right. But anyway, that I guess is my question to you. Do you have any experience calling after Halloween? I guess let's put it that way.
Yes, I do. November even.
So like November, going in November, what type of calling have you used that has actually like worked in any way, shape, or form?
Herd talk with no bulls.
Cow
calls, lost cow, calf, and lost calf. Because that time of year, the younger bulls, they'll tend to stay with the herd more throughout the winter, or they'll run off into their bachelor groups again. But everybody just wants a friend at that time of year. Especially, I feel it's instilled in them for predator protection. I mean, we are nothing but mountain lions, bears, and wolves out here, as you probably are too. So, I just let them know where we are, and not all of them talk back, hardly ever, but they sure want to come take a look. Most of the time, I'll do it every 200 yards if we're in the woods walking. A couple soft cow calls or a calf call. If we see elk and they don't see us, or even if they see us and they blow out, we'll try to get a little closer, or about an hour, and we'll just do some lost calf calls like they left one of us behind. Not distressed. We don't go distressed. We're just lost calf. And we just want to let them know, like when I lion hunt, I run calf elk distress on every lion hunt calls.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, through my Fox Pro. And I'll tell you right now, 4 out of 10 times a bull will come to save that calf.
No kidding.
I think I mentioned that on
I've heard. Yeah, you that's right. I remember we talked about that is you do that lost calf, and I've done that, and it has worked for me. The lost calf has pulled in a bull, and man, they come trucking in too. Like, so, it's not like they're coming in being as quiet and careful as they can. They'll sometimes just about run you over. So you have to be very much on your toes. But let me ask you your sequence on that, like from a standpoint of
Now, what sequence on calling lions or calling elk later in the year?
Using a lost calf to call an elk. I don't care if it's September 1st or Thanksgiving Day. Like that, I think is always kind of an effective call, and it's underutilized. I usually I kind of do it. I heard one time, I guess is a better way to put it. And it's just, they just kind of go, yeah. And I do that for like 2 minutes straight and kind of, mix it up a little bit. But for the most part, that's what I'm doing with this lost calf sound. What do you do for that? Because I feel like I could be a lot better.
I only usually use the lost calf. I generally just soft cow call every couple hundred yards. I mean, I don't beat up the call at all. I'm just hoping there's an elk in the area. I don't expect to hear anything back, but a lot of times when they come in quiet, and they usually diagonal towards the way we're going with the wind. So like we'll come around a straight, and we see him coming from a long ways away. With a lost calf, if we're out there and we're on fresh cow shit or fresh elk shit or an area we know they just bedded, or we see a herd from afar that doesn't see us, that's when I use that calf call.
Gotcha.
I mean, if I walk up where the elk were, it's 8 a.m. and we know the elk were here this morning, no matter what, because the color of their crap, still soft brown and even, dripping, you know what I mean? Yeah. You left me behind calf calling. Where are you at? I need to know.
That's a good idea. I didn't think
That's the only time I really use that late in the year. I don't walk. I never even take a bugle tube, man. I don't care if a bull bugles at me or not in October or November. That's just giving me a good sense of direction where I can try to cut him off and see what he's doing, and obviously put a waypoint. And it depends on what time of day it is. So like, I'm a firm believer, like in the rut, when those cows go to bed, say sometimes it's 8 or 9 or 10. 11, depending on temperature, thermals, weather, barometric pressure. I'm a firm believer that bull's going to rest up for an hour or two at the max, and then his cows are going to stay there all day. He's going to get out and run a circle around his cows. He's going to check his perimeter to see if there's been any bulls rubbing, any bulls peeing, any bull scent at all anywhere. And then I think, and this is just my opinion and my experience, I think once he does that, that tells him how far away he can get to go find strays.
Gotcha.
If he doesn't smell another bull or doesn't hear another bull and he's completely feeling safe, he'll go a mile or two away to go find some more cows. And it depends where they're benched up at, where they bedded at. We all know they like to bed on benches, usually a third from the top. He has awareness on both sides all the way around him when they bench up there. If they bench down at the bottom all the time, he knows he's screwed for predation and he's only got limited access out. But when he's close to the top, good luck getting on a bull that's close to the top, because he has 15 routes he can go.
Yeah.
And so, it's like barometric pressure. An old guy told me this years ago, and we do it every year, and we proved it again last year. We're at 28, say 28, 29, and there's just not much activity going on, regardless of what kind of pressure's out there. We get up into 30, 31 if we can find it. It's a whole different ball game of elk vocals. I can't tell you why. I didn't believe the old timer for a lot of years, and then we started paying attention to it. We're like, let's just check the temperature, barometric pressure. Well, all the gang, we're at 28.1. Let's try to find 29.8 or 30. And generally, if we can get to 30, there's going to be a whole nother ball game played at that point.
Isn't that interesting? We just talked about that with Michael Batiste on the show. Barometric pressure, and that relates to fishing too. If you're watching your barometric pressures, man, as soon as that pressure either rises or drops, man, those fish will start nailing whatever you're fishing with. And I don't care if you're fly fishing or using night crawlers. Well, it just makes a difference.
We have a rule too. I mean, I was a huge fisherman before I moved here. I gave it up 10 years ago when I moved here. Sold my boat and everything. I'd fish a couple hundred days a year. We had a golden rule, made us very successful. Dark days, fish with dark colors. Sunny days, fish with bright colors. I stick to that to this day. If it's cloudy and cool, I'm going browns, dark blues.
That's a pretty good tip, man.
But if it's a sunny day, I'm going with the hot pinks, the lime greens, the yellows.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try that, you should try that. Just experiment on your own. But I bet it'll make a difference in your fish harvests.
Yeah, I will. I will definitely try that, man. I'm trying to. I'm
Dark
kind of like
days,
you,
dark
like,
colors.
dark days, dark colors, light days, light color. Okay, you got.
But these big bulls,
right.
though, Jim, they do get up where their cows are bedded. They do. They have to. And if we put a bull to bed at night that we can't harvest or we didn't get to see enough to know if we want to, I'll elevate them and challenge them at dark one time. And then I'll shut up all the way to the truck. And I can't tell you, I'll bet you 25% of the time. So if I do it, I'll bet if I do it 8 times, it'll happen twice. Where that bull that we just played with, now that it's dark and I challenged him from afar, eventually he'll work his way back to us and challenge us again. And then we'll shut up and go another couple hundred yards while he runs back. And then he'll come back and do it again. And it's how, this is just me, how I run my program and how I process what he just did. I keep empowering him. Every time he does it, I've empowered him and I've raised his excitement, his rut. Okay.
Yeah.
So then when he does that, I let him run me off. If he goes back a second time, if he comes twice and goes back a second time, I'll bugle like I'm way far away. Just a regular bugle. Look, even if it's just most likely, depending on time of rut, it's a display bugle instead of a locate bugle. And he'll come again, and we just shut up. We get to the truck. We sit there for a half an hour before we even think about leaving. Sometimes we hear him running around. He run us out of there. So we do that to set him up for the next morning. If we haven't seen him or he's one we want and we couldn't get, the next morning we'll go all the way back and listen to the party of all the hunters and all the bulls or whatever. We tend not to step on hunters' toes, but they come.
Yeah. Yeah.
What we'll do then is the same process, but a different level. We'll move all the way into the inside circle of the party. And then guess what Ryan does? Ryan challenges him just like I did the night before where he ran me off. And to me, I think instantly inside his head, he's like, oh, that dude's afraid of me. I ran him off last night 3 times. I'm going all the way this time. Once again, we'll see him run by because we move. Or we'll see him get very aggressive and he'll hold up a little ways out and beat the crap out of a tree. Well, when he's beating a tree, we're moving. Period. Just like I tell archery hunters, oh, he's too far. He's at 60 and he's beating a tree. Well, as soon as he beats that tree, draw your bow and walk right towards him. He's not looking at you. His eyes roll back like a shark. And just an analogy, when he's working that tree, he's not going to pay no attention to you. He's not going to see you walk straight to him, his head's down, breaking branches.
Yeah.
And I call that taking a chance. Most of the time, guys will say, oh, I couldn't, and the bull left. Yeah, but what if you did, and the bull started to leave, and you cow called, and he stopped, and you had a 40-yard shot, and you harvested that bull? You'll never know unless you try it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't learn all this on my own. My buddies, got me hunting when I got out of the military, and I was about 27, 28 years old. I started hunting. I was with a really good group of guys, with 6 of us, and we'd go out in groups of 2, the same 2 every year, every hunt. We'd come back to camp, we'd Q&A. Well, this is what we did, and that's what the bull did. And they said, well, try this next time. So we all got on the same page after about 5 years. That's the same and that was all archery hunting, Elgin, Oregon. That's the exact same program we run to this day because we've been so successful with it.
Of all, between taking hunters out and watching other hunters out there, listening to other hunters, seeing them on YouTube, I don't care what it is.
Never watched a YouTube video for elk hunting.
Just out of curiosity, like, what do you think the biggest mistake haulers make that messes up their hunt?
They make the same 2 bugles, 2 or 3 bugles, the same. That's all they do is the same 2 bugles. A lot of them will do the same bugle over and over and over and over again and give their position away to that bull. And we call it getting drugged. I used to get drugged when I was in my early 30s. That bull will drag you all across every mountain and ridge, and that's your one hunt of the day. Now you got to get your ass back to the truck, get something to drink, something to eat, get your boots off for an hour before you go back out, if you have time to get back out. We never let a bull drag it. We won't even let a 400-inch bull drag us. We'll check to see where he's going. Is he going down in that hellhole where men don't go? Well, we're not even going to try to get on him again for 24 hours if he went down in there. It's just not worth keeping him down there. We just let him be an elk and work his way back up. We try to keep tabs on him. And whenever we find younger bulls that we're seeing, small 6s, even 300 6s and 5s, believe it or not, we got 300-inch 5 points here.
Oh,
I would have one of my hunters squeeze the trigger on that bull in a heartbeat.
Me too.
I would shoot a 310.5 over a 350. That's just 356. That's just me, but it's still the hunter's choice.
Mhm.
Those are the mistakes I see them make, though. They get drug. They keep giving away their position because I used to do it. The bull called, I'm calling. Hey, I got his attention. He's still calling back, but let's stop and think for a minute. While you're doing that, next thing you know, you're 3 miles from the truck instead of a half a mile. Right? So, like I said, not paying attention to when the bull's keeping tabs on you and being quiet. And if you can only bugle like a smaller bull, he's always just going to keep tabs on you. Very rarely will he come challenge you unless the light switched and you just happen to be in that perfect where all the stars aligned. I'm not saying it's not possible, and for some hunters, it might happen that way every year. Depends on your ground, depends on temperature, depends on your program that you run. I'm just saying, learn to make more than 2 sounds. And a challenge, I don't really just do a challenge bugle. I mean, like, okay, here's an example. We're in an area. So back to that real quick. If there's 4 or 5 raghorns running around screaming, we know there's a herd bull in here somewhere. So we're just going to shut up and we're going to try to pattern him, and we're going to try to see when he pops off. If he doesn't pop off, we leave.
Point.
So you can push a bull out of the county, you know that.
Oh yeah, I've done it
But
many
the areas
times.
we hunt, the areas we focus on with all those waypoints, Jim, it's not just that bull using them. It's every bull in the area is going to use those. We get to some saddles where there's 5 ways out. We watch them go to the right. Well, then we know we have an idea where we can get up and around them if we're not too far from the rig. We can start this party all over again in 2 hours if we make an hour drive. So a lot of different variables.
Not to totally back it up, but now you got me wondering, when you first leave the truck and you, I imagine you're a lot like me. Like, you've got these areas where that like on September 15th, there's always elk in there. You're always going to get a bugle on that ridge, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of us hunt every year quite consistently. We all have these areas where we know there's going to be elk hanging out. Let's say you're going into a spot that you don't know whether or not there's elk hanging out in there. When you first leave the truck, what are you doing to get your first bugle? Is it like a locator? Are you going through a series of cow calls first?
Never.
What do you do?
I used to cow call first every time, but I don't do that anymore because I'm by the truck.
Yeah.
I usually throw out a locate bugle most of the time, or depending, sometimes just a challenge chuckle. I can't tell you how many bulls that when it was quiet out that we lit up when nothing else worked. So, okay, we're not doing that at the next stop. I'm going to get out. I'm going to go 100 yards. We're going to do a challenge chuckle. Instinctively around here, a lot, in my experience, a lot of bulls just chuckle back instinctively because they're like so jacked up. It's like they don't even think. They just challenge chuckle right back. Wow. And a lot of times when they do that, they shut up. But it gives us a starting point.
I wish you don't have your bugle tube sitting right there, do you?
I do, but I'm trying new reeds this year, and I don't know where they are. They might be in my turkey pack.
Oh, okay. No, I was just curious about what you mean by a challenge chuckle. Is that more
just a real fast chuckle? Real fast chuckle. And that's it. Just right into super fast.
Okay.
And that's it. Boom, done.
I swear every year I have this. I'll come across a bull that the only thing he'll respond to is chuckles. He won't respond to cow calls. He won't respond to a bugle, no challenge bugle, no locate bugle, no squeals, no moans, no nothing. But if I chuckle at him, bam, every time he'll respond. I like what you said earlier, man. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It might change the subject when I ask the next question. So finish your thought there.
So he just gave you a point on him if he just does that. Because what bull's going to do that back unless he's got cows? And most of the time, depending if you're in the mid-rut, he's got cows that they know what they're going to go into estrus. They don't know what second or what minute or what day, but they definitely know that this cow is going to be, I'll call it pre-estrus. How's that? Them bulls know that. They know. They can smell it. They can tell by the way the cows are acting. I think if a bull just challenge chuckles back to you, that he's got a couple cows, at least 1 or 2, and he's just instinctively did it. Or if he does it all the time, he's just letting you know, do not come in here. Some of the bigger bulls that we have harvested, that's all they did was chuckle because that's all they got left in them. They're just tired and worn down, and they're just going to tell you, I will kill you if you come over here. And to me, that's what a challenge chuckle means. I will fight you and I will kill you. He doesn't think he's going to lose. No bull that comes to fight thinks he's going to lose.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They all, no, they're absolutely. I love using the bar reference for that, because it reminds me of when, we were talking about the military, like when I was a young Marine, we'd go to these bars. We all had egos the size of, Texas, and go in there, and almost every time would end in somebody getting in a fist fight with somebody, but that's how bulls are from like September 15th through the first week of October, man. I think they're just like a bunch of rowdy, young dudes in a bar, trying to pick up chicks, and having that big ego, that young man, bulletproof ego that we all get, I think, I really like what you said earlier, Ryan, about how did you phrase that? It was like, a hunter does a perfect bugle, a bull does a terrible.
The best bugles come from hunters. The worst bugles come from bulls. Hey,
It's
I know
so
we're probably running a little short, so there's something else I want to talk about. I may have talked about in the last podcast, but I don't recall.
Okay.
We get in a lot of areas where we know there's elk around, or we know elk will be coming through these certain areas sometime in the 24-hour period.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, if there's absolutely nothing going on, or let's say we just hear that one challenge chuckle, we generally don't go after that bull straight at him if he responds with just a challenge chuckle.
Could you re-describe that? I like
just a really fast-paced chuckle.
Okay.
Just super fast-paced chuckle. To me, that's a challenge chuckle. To me, a locate bugle is just 1 or 2 or 3 notes. I don't know how to do any note but 1 to start my bugles off. It's just high as you can go with a deep
Yeah.
And so, what was your question, Jim? You forgot to.
I
know what it is. So my locate bugle, my display bugle is a little more aggressive. It's a little more like, hey, stay away from me. I'm big and bad. Don't come over here. It's once again into the high pitch with a deep growl with a slow chuckle. To me, I'm just showing off. I'm displaying myself. This is who I am. Figure it out. Don't come around me. If I'm going to challenge you, I mean, you can do the lip balm, you can do this, but the most part of a challenge bugle is the ending, which is the fast chuckle.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's what that is. So we've done this before on bulls that just like to chuckle back and stay up where they are. We don't want to run them out of the area. I'll do a breeding sequence. I think I mentioned this on the last podcast. I'll do a breeding sequence for up to 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say 40% of the time, the bulls that are around are going to come in quiet and take a look. And worst thing you do is you get blowed out and they run off. But when they get back to where they came from, they bugle at you. I mean, when I do a breeding sequence, I'm cows, I'm regular cows, I'm nasally cows, I'm herd cows, I'm century cows, I'm estrus cows, I'm calves, I'm small bulls, I'm big bulls, and I may throw up a spike squeal. I'll beat up a tree, I'll run another bull off. My breeding sequence covers 200 to 300 yards all the way around it. So I'm basically doing what the elk do. And we try not to do it as much anymore because that's when you really get the hunters coming in.
Yeah.
And we don't like to do that to the hunters.
My only complaint with the breeding sequence is it's very effective, but the bulls always come in silent and always tend to bust me before I can get them.
That's right.
And it's probably just me and the way I'm setting it up and working that, but I'm always hesitant to do that because I can't tell you how many times I've called in and I'm doing that exactly what, and I've got a read right here. It's really dirty. Screw it. You only live once, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, I'll just do that little.
Are you under pressure?
Yeah, and I'm putting like voice to it, and man, that will fire up a bull from like 500 yards away, and he'll just give you that real gutturally kind of bugle, and then he shuts up, and next thing I know, he's 20 yards from me, standing there staring at me, making me look like an idiot, and off he goes out of my life forever. And that's been my one complaint with that breeding sequence. But if you've got hunters to set them up like what you're talking about, I feel like it would be a lot more effective. But when I'm not guiding, I'm usually hunting solo,
Yeah,
and
me
so
too.
Hard.
Well, when I do breeding sequences, a lot of times cows come in, just
Uh-huh.
cows.
Yep.
You know what I
Done
do
that
if a
too.
cow comes into 30 yards from me?
What?
This is 100% every time. I'll scream in their face, just like I'll just wherever I'm at in the breeding sequence, if I'm doing cow sounds, I'll scream a rip right in their face, 20, 30, 40, 50 yards. And 50% of the time they'll put their head down and go back to feeding, whether they think I'm a human or not. They
Really?
see me and I don't want to blow anything out. I'm going to bugle in the same way I've been bugling if I'm breeding, I'm going to bugle like that. If I'm challenging, I'm going to challenge. If I'm just displaying, I'm going to display.
Huh.
Look right at him when she looks at me and just throw one right in her face and see what she does. Just give it a shot. You got nothing to lose. She's going to run off,
you don't.
right?
Yeah.
But what if she went back to feeding and made all the other elk feel comfortable, and pretty soon here comes quiet Big Daddy because he wants to get a look and he trots by the wrong spot.
That's a great idea, man. I'm going to try that.
That's
Okay.
what I call taking chances. I don't mean bad shots, and I don't mean running after elk. I mean, I think one of our big things is we do all these things that other hunters don't do just because they've worked for us in the past. And I got guys for 14 days on a lifetime elk hunt. Well, I don't want that elk to leave. I'll do whatever I have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Well, cool, man. Yeah, this is a good topic, man. It's my favorite topic, but this was a good conversation about all. I like getting guys like you on that have all sorts of different experience with like different personalities, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you're taking all these veterans out and these first responders out, and everybody, it's such a powerful thing to hunt with all these different personalities, because some of them have immense capability, some of them have physical limitations, and some of them are really motivated to get a bull, and others are like more, I'm just happy to be here. And so working with all that, you still want to try to get them on a bull, gives you a lot of wonderful insight that a lot of people just don't have. So it's powerful stuff, man.
You're right. And I'll tell you right now, Jim, every time you talk to an elk, you're talking to a different personality. And maybe that's what I was trying to say to hunters that only make one or two bull sounds.
Mm-hmm.
They treat them all the same.
Yeah.
We run the same program, but we treat every bull differently depending on what he's telling us. And you can learn a lot just by listening. Don't focus on that bull. Listen to what's going on around you. If there's 7 bulls in here screaming, you got a damn good chance of getting in front between him and his cows. You don't even have to say a word.
That's a good point, man.
And when he runs off, that's when you start talking. When you're between him and his cows, odds are you're going to get a look at him.
We could do like a whole podcast on that topic alone. That's a great idea.
Well, you should come out one time for our hunts, even if it's only for 3 or 4 days, and see what we do and how we do it.
I'd love to. I'd love to, man. I'd love to. It'd be for me. I'd love to, pitch in, help. Call for some of them, or pack a bull out, whatever.
You'll call. You'll call. I got these guys calling whether they can call or not within 3 days. That's why they all get external reeds, bugle tubes, and diaphragms.
That's awesome, man. And see, for those of you listening, you just heard that. It is currently May 11th. One of the biggest things I get, comments I get from some of the listeners out there, especially when we're talking like School of September, archery elk, is they're like, man, I thought about getting a reed and starting to learn how to call back in like April, and I just felt like there wasn't enough time to become proficient enough to be effective. Man, that you guys don't. It is not like playing guitar where it takes. You want to get to like Eric Clapton level. That's going to take several years. You don't have to do that with an elk. Elk calls. You need 10 minutes a day for like 2 weeks. And you need to get a few calls down to start eliciting responses. Get a good locate bugle, get a nice rip and challenge bugle, and get really proficient with your cow calls. Then from there, like Ryan was talking about, that's when you start developing those personality calls. Like some elk are just like humans, naturally aggressive. Some are less aggressive. Some are just lovers.
Some just chuckle.
Now
You got to learn how to deal with a bull that just chuckles.
I shot a bull one year. We called him Mr. Chuckles.
If you don't try to figure out that bull, because you're going to be in that situation again down the road. So try anything you can and then learn from the mistake that you're going to make, because you're most likely. I still make mistakes all the time, bro. I just don't care. I just let it go and move on to the next.
I should change the name of this podcast from the Western Huntsman to the Mistake Huntsman, because that's what I do. And like, you know, I'm in this like business owner group thing on Facebook where everybody kind of, you know, posts in this group about different challenges they're facing. One of the guys was talking about, you know, he's been struggling. He might, you know, he's considering bankrupting his company because he's had a really rough year, and you know, he's just, and the whole point of it was, he was like, I just feel so ashamed that I'm in this position, and everybody starts chiming in. He's like, man, you are not a business owner unless you felt like you need to file bankruptcy, or you feel ashamed that you've run this aspect of your company into the dirt. If you haven't failed multiple times, you will not be a successful business owner, man. And when I read that, when I was reading all those comments, it was just hundreds of them. I was like, man, that is exactly what elk hunting is too. If you haven't buggered off a bull that was coming into your calls and didn't get a shot on him because he smelled you, he saw you, he felt uncomfortable, a cow came in on the other direction and you scared her off and she ran him off. Yeah, you know, if you haven't done those things, you're not learning, and you will kill more elk. The more elk you chase away and not get a shot on, the more elk you're going to end up killing. I think that's my opinion, because it's those mistakes that you don't want to repeat.
And here's why. And this is the truth. I said earlier, I never watched a YouTube video. I've probably honestly seen 10. I'm 58 years old. I've seen 10 YouTube videos. These guys learn to hunt elk on YouTube. YouTube does not teach those mistakes that you just discussed. They don't get to learn that part of it.
Exactly.
Because they're not going to show that.
Nope.
And the only way to learn those is to take little chances. You're a mile from the truck. Be smart about it. Evolve on every encounter. And pretty soon, out of 50 encounters, 5 happen the exact same way, and you handle them all the same way, and you had the same results. What if on encounter 3 of the same, you changed it? And so encounter 4 was different, and you almost got it done. Then you get to encounter 5, you did the same thing, and you had the same results. Now encounter 6, you change it one more little step, and now you're starting to put those bulls on the ground.
Precisely.
Like I think guys get too locked into the vocals of the elk. And it overconsumes their brain where they can't think and think logically.
Yeah, man. And a lot of that does come from YouTube. Yeah.
No disrespect to elk. And no disrespect was meant to the YouTubers. I love what they do to get people involved. But you got to change things up. I even taught raise my kids. If it's not working for you, change it. Quit calling and asking me the same damn question. Change it.
Yeah. No, it's such a good point, man. And like I said, a lot of it does come from the YouTube thing. You know, it's just not. And I've said this a million times on this podcast. The best way to learn to become a good elk hunter is to get out there and be with elk. And it doesn't matter if you're doing that in, you know, May, like it is now. I love getting out. One of the things I love about hunting bears in the spring, doing spring bear hunting, is I'm seeing a lot of elk, and I'm hearing what they're saying to each other this time of year and what their nuances are. And you compare that during, you know, September when they're in their breeding cycles. It's just, that's the only way to learn. I mean, these podcasts are great. YouTube can be great. There's a lot of like digital online e-courses, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there, but until you get out there and get your daggum teeth kicked in by a screaming bull elk, you're just really not going to grasp.
You're going to continue to make mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I said earlier, when we get out of the truck, we just be elk. And we just do what elk do. Sometimes I get a little advanced because I have the ability to. My hunters look at me like, what the hell are you doing? I say, just wait. Trust me on this one. Just wait. Another tool you can put in your toolbox.
Yeah.
But if you just do what the elk always do, you're safe 90% of the time, and you're in the party. Might not get an invitation, but you showed up and crashed the party. And if you just be quiet and listen to what's going on and what they're doing, you can figure it out real quick instead of just boom right on in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Well, Ryan, tell everybody where they can find you and elk, or I'm sorry, high timber. I was going to call you Elk Timber Dreams. High Timber Dreams.
Elk Timber wouldn't have been a bad name, but I like High Timber a little better.
I like, yeah.
HighTimberDreams.com. That's our website. Feel free to check it out. If you subscribe to it, we won't beat you down with emails. We might send out 10 or 12 a year.
Cool.
Facebook is High Timber Dreams. period. There's a period after the S because there's other scammer pages out there. High Timber Dreams, period. Instagram is just High Timber Dreams.
Yep.
I do have a TikTok, but I gave up on that 2 years ago when I posted a dead bull and they cut me off for a while. So I really don't do nothing with TikTok anymore.
I wouldn't even bother. I've never even been on TikTok.
The new app coming out, Open Range Social. It's going to go back into beta testing. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I haven't.
We
heard
beta
of that.
tested it for a year. Had some issues with the engineer, and now it's being re-engineered. Open Range Social. Look at it. There's an app in the App Store. It's down right now. You could still go on there. You can still create your page, and when it relaunches, all your stuff will still cover. You could show shooting, skinning, gutting, processing, any animal you want to, and you will always stay in the rotate. Open Range Social. It's in the App Store. I have a profile on there already. The only way you're going to get kicked off Open Range Social is if you're breaking the law or beating animals, doing stupid stuff. But I'm telling you right now, you will stay. There is no algorithm that's going to say, oh, you got 1 million followers and I got 2. Well, if we have the same amount of posts, the same amount of people are going to see our posts. Yeah. You're not restricted by anybody. You grow your own and you own it. And like I said, right now it's being re-engineered. I started spreading it around some of the sportsman shows, and like I said, there was an issue with an engineer. Now that's been resolved with the new engineer, and he's just working out the last little bugs and get it approved into the App Store for iPhone and Android. Once it's approved both ways again through beta testing, you'll see it launch. And I believe you, Jim, if you're going to want to hunt with High Timber Dreams once this is reestablished, you're going to have to go onto Open Range Social because I'm moving everything over to that platform.
Oh, okay. I'll jump on there. I wrote it down. I'll get that app and give me a follow, man.
I will, but don't expect too much out of it right now. Sometimes if you get on there and the screen's white, close it out and go right back on. There's some quirks that are being worked out, but don't give up on this app. I think it'd be great for your show too.
Oh, okay. Cool, man. I appreciate the tip on that.
Yeah. James Fleming. You ever heard of James Fleming Outdoors? He's a guide in Arizona, and his wife Pamela Fleming. She's the one designing this app.
Oh, okay.
Awesome people.
Well,
so for all you listeners out there,
I'll get them on the show, man.
Yeah. Cool. Absolutely. They would love to do your show.
Okay. Well, cool. Thanks again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. You're just like last time, wealth of information. And I gotta just one more time say this High Timber Dreams, the mission behind it, making dreams come true for veterans, active duty, first responders, and youth, is what your Instagram handle says. I love selfless missions like that are oriented on like a bigger, greater good versus like just this, self-focused, self-indulged kind of mentality that is so prevalent out there. So I appreciate you doing what you do, man. You're great. You're a hell of an American, man. That's great stuff.
I appreciate that. And if I could throw one last thing out, if anybody out there, any corporations or outdoor sporting goods stores or businesses or just people in general that like to support nonprofits through veterans, first responders, active duty, and youth, please reach out, and we'd be more than glad to take in your support.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, cool. All right, guys, thanks again for Precision Pay, Easton Archery, Browning, Mystery Ranch, Leupold Optics, and Phelps Game Calls. Can't do this show without those guys' support, and thank you guys for supporting our sponsors. Thanks, Ryan. We'll talk soon. Let's just keep in touch, brother, man.
You made it. That's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please make sure you're following us on Instagram @TheWesternHuntsman and write us a good review at Apple Podcasts. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Stay Western, and I'll see you on the mountain.